I feel unwell, so I head to the hospital alone to get myself checked. There, I find my wife Luna Ackerman, accompanying the poor student I support financially, Levi Baker, for a health checkup. Just last night, the very same woman held me intimately in bed and said we would be together forever in every lifetime. I smiled dejectedly and summoned the system in my mind. I choose to go back to my original world. What Luna doesn't know is that I'm a transmigrator. I have accomplished my mission the moment I married her. But now, I don't want her anymore. The host's request has been received. The passage back to the original world will be activated in 5 days. At the same time, the screen at the hospital waiting area was showing Luna Ackerman's interview from the night before. Dr. Ackerman, congratulations on winning the most prestigious award in the medical field. Would you like to say a few words? The woman on the stage had long hair and a curvy figure. She accepted the trophy and looked at the audience. She carried an air that would make people keep their distance. The person I'm most grateful to is my husband, Noah Gosling. She smiled when she mentioned my name, making her seem much gentler. If it weren't for my husband, I would have died in the rain 10 years ago. I owe my life to him, so this trophy is meant for my husband, Noah. The audience erupted into applause. Luna is the youngest woman to win the most prestigious award in the medical field. She's also devoted to her husband. I'm so jealous. I heard they were childhood sweethearts. Luna, who was on the stage, heard those comments as well. She grinned wider and added, "Hence, I've bought asteroid 27-9 with the prize money and named it after Noah. I want to take this opportunity to declare my love for my husband to the universe." Luna's eyes sparkled as she spoke, but a bitter smile crossed my face. Maybe her love for me was genuine, but it was also true that she had fallen in love with the student I had supported. 10 years ago, I had transmigrated into this novel because I felt sorry for the villain, Luna Ackerman, and wanted to save her. The 20-year-old me showed up during the darkest time of her life, when she was only 15 years old. That year, she had witnessed her parents die in a car accident. All her relatives refused to take her in, and I was the one who took her home from the orphanage. Luna was dependent on me. She never let me do any chores and gave me her entire paycheck after her first month of work. She only wanted to stay by my side as soon as she got off work. During a car accident, she shielded me with her body without hesitation. I, who was in the most dangerous passenger seat, was perfectly fine, but Luna stayed in the ICU for a week. She almost lost her hand and couldn't perform surgeries again. Later, when she proposed to me, I ignored the system's advice and said yes. I was willing to give up everything just to spend the rest of my life with Luna in the novel. However, happy endings only existed in fairy tales because they didn't show the dull reality of married life. A month ago, I had received a pink whip and a USB drive. It contained videos of Luna making out with another man. I recognized Levi Baker immediately. He had once stayed in the same orphanage as Luna, and he was the underprivileged student I had supported. I felt a stab in my chest, and the pain was excruciating. Just then my phone rang. Levi's provocative voice sounded from the other end of the line. "Noah, it's been a while. You must be surprised to hear from the student you once supported like this." I remained silent, but he continued smugly, "Of course, there's a lot you don't know. Do you know how much Luna enjoyed herself when she was in bed with me? An old man like you can't satisfy her." My fingers turned white from how tightly I gripped my phone. I felt as if I had been plunged into a cold, bottomless abyss. After ending the call, I questioned the system through tears. Why? Everything has been going so well between Luna and me. And she's been nice to me over the past 10 years. Why would she cheat on me? I had supported Levi out of kindness, but why did he betray me? Maybe because she's the villain. The system's cold voice was tinged with sympathy. It told me that Luna was born evil. Even if I could guide her on her journey to becoming a doctor, I could never control the brutal nature within her. She loved me and respected me, so she couldn't bring herself to hurt me. That was why she had to take it out on another man. I felt a throbbing pain in my chest. Tears streamed down my face, dripping onto the back of my hand. Right then, Luna pushed the door open and walked in. Luna panicked when she saw me crying. She crouched in front of me without even taking off her heels. Gently cupping my face, she asked, "Noah, why are you crying? Tell me what happened. I'll take care of it for you. It hurts me to see you cry like this." Luna's concern seemed genuine. She held my face as if I were the most precious person in the world to her. But the faint tobacco smell on her wafted through my nose, making me feel sick and disgusted. It didn't matter. I would be gone in 4 days. I didn't make it too obvious when I pushed Luna away. Then I wiped my tears and replied, "I'm fine. I just watched an emotional drama." Only then did Luna breathe a sigh of relief. She held me tightly and asked, "You dummy, what drama was it? I'll watch it with you next time." I pursed my lips helplessly and asked, "Do you really want to watch it with me?" "Of course," Luna replied without hesitation. "I want to do everything with you," I said nonchalantly. The story was about a really loving couple. The woman cheated on her husband, So he divorced her and left her forever. Do you? I fixed my gaze on Luna when I said that, for I wouldn't want to miss the slightest change in her expression. The color drained from her face when she heard that the man had left his wife forever. She clasped a hand over my mouth and asked, "Why would you watch something like that? It'll mess with your head." "Don't worry. I'll never leave you. I, Luna Ackerman, will love you forever. When you came into my world, you said you'd always be there for me when I needed you. I'll do the same for you too." I closed my eyes and said nothing. Luna could tell that I wasn't in the mood, so she changed the subject. "Noah, cheer up. I'll take you out on a date. How about steak? I've been really busy at the hospital lately. It's been so long since we last went on a date." She spoke sweetly to me like she always did. My heart wrenched. I wondered if she was really busy at the hospital or busy hooking up with another guy. When I got into the car, Luna helped me buckle the seatbelt. Since I hated driving, she would pick me up all the time. I noticed that the Noah seat sticker she had placed on the passenger seat had been touched, so I peeled it off without hesitation. Luna's gaze dimmed instantly. "Noah, why? I don't like the design of the sticker." "Let's change it," I replied. Upon hearing that, Luna breathed a sigh of relief. She beamed at me. "Okay, I'll listen to my hubby." Messages kept coming in on Luna's phone while we were on our way to the restaurant. She picked her phone up and glanced at it. Her pupils contracted before she put the phone face down. However, I had already seen the content from the reflection on the glass. It was a photo of Levi showing his abs in the bathroom. "Noah, I suddenly feel like going to the Cajun restaurant we used to go to all the time. Let's go there tonight, okay?" Before I could answer, she had already made a U-turn. She was in such a hurry that she forgot I didn't really take spicy food. I only found out why Luna insisted on having Cajun cuisine after arriving at the restaurant. Her colleagues from the hospital were dining there, and Levi, who had sent me the pink whip, was present too. "Luna, now I know why you turned us down when we asked you to join us for the celebration. You've been spending time with a handsome guy," said one of her colleagues who was drunk. Luna's face darkened. "He's my husband. Apologize." No one had expected Luna to react so seriously. They laughed and wanted to change the topic, but Luna said, "It's fine if you make things hard for me, but don't mess with my husband. That's where I draw the line." Luna's drunk friend sobered up instantly and apologized to me. I waved it off and told him it was fine, but deep down, I felt really awful. Wasn't Luna the one giving me a hard time? What was she trying to do now? As I was lost in thought, the group invited Luna to join them for the meal. But she turned them down right away, saying that she was on a date with me. Then they kept urging me to join them. I glanced at Levi, who had been sitting silently in the innermost corner the entire time, and finally said, "All right, I'll join you guys." Luna seemed slightly reluctant. "Noah, don't mind them. We're supposed to be on a date." In the end, both of us sat down at the table. I wasn't interested in their conversation and quickly grew bored, so I decided to step out and get some fresh air. Just as I stood up, Luna rose to her feet and asked in concern, "Noah, what do you need? I'll get it for you." I shook my head. "It's fine. I'm just going to the restroom. I'll be right back." Her colleagues laughed and said, "Noah, you're really lucky to have found someone as devoted and caring as Dr. Ackerman." Luna looked at me, her gaze gentle. She confessed, "I'm the lucky one. I can't imagine what I'd do if Noah wasn't in my life." Everyone seemed touched by what she said. Thinking how ironic everything was, I pursed my lips. If Luna really loved me, then why would she cheat on me with another man? I went into the restroom and saw Levi washing his hands at the sink. As soon as he spotted me, he sneered. "Noah, are you surprised to see how well I'm doing now?" I said nothing. He went on, "I don't think Luna actually loves you that much." "Is that so?" I replied nonchalantly. That seemed to set him off, and he suddenly slammed his hands against the counter. "You must think I've been living a miserable life all these years, don't you? Secretly making fun of me, right? You know what? I found my biological parents, and I'm living a much better life than you." He tugged his collar aside, revealing the hickey on his neck and a necklace. "Do you know what this is?" Luna gave it to me as a token of our love. It's the same design as her ring. The ring he had mentioned was our wedding ring. Luna had designed it herself, saying that it symbolized her unparalleled love for me. But now I had to share her love with someone else. I caressed the ring on my ring finger, then removed it. Without hesitation, I tossed it into the trash can and left without looking back. When I didn't return to the private room after a long time, Luna called me. "I went home," I said. "Go ahead and have fun." It had been barely 10 minutes since I ended the call when Luna showed up right before me. She looked panicked. "Noah, why didn't you ask me to leave with you?" Before I could reply, her gaze dropped to my finger, which had nothing on it. Her voice was trembling as she asked, "Noah, where's your wedding ring?" Seeing how worried she was, I felt the urge to ask her how she could love two people at the same time. She was asking about me, yet she was also in love with another man. I have no idea when I lost it. Maybe it fell off when I was sitting on the lawn just now. Without giving it much thought, Luna dashed out of the house. Noah, don't worry. I'll definitely find it. It suddenly started drizzling, and Luna searched around the lawn frantically. Meanwhile, I stood by the floor-to-ceiling window and watched her coldly. Luna's phone on the coffee table wouldn't stop ringing. I answered the call, and Levi's deep voice rang out. Luna, a new set of clothes has arrived today. Are you coming over tonight? I'll put them on and show you. I replied apathetically. I don't think she's free tonight. She's looking for the ring for me. As soon as I finished speaking, I ended the call before Levi could say anything. Just as I expected, Levi showed up at the villa 30 minutes later. It was raining heavily. He ran in the rain and held Luna tightly, looking just like the male lead who had finally overcome all kinds of hardships in a romance drama. Luna pried his hands off her forcefully. Suppressing her anger, she whispered, "What are you doing here? Leave. I told you not to show up in front of Noah. I won't go easy on you if he finds out about us." She shoved Levi to the ground, and he yelled, "I don't care. It kills me to see you like this. Is that so wrong? Besides, you're my woman. When are you going to divorce Noah and marry me?" Luna rushed forward and clapped a hand over his mouth. Suddenly, she seemed to have sensed something and turned around. Her eyes locked onto me, who stood in front of the second-floor window. The rain did not stop. It sheeted against the glass of the second-floor window, blurring the two figures in the courtyard below into dark, trembling silhouettes. Through the distorted water, I watched Luna's hand freeze over Levi's mouth. Her shoulders went stiff, her head snapping upward with a jerky, terrified speed. When her eyes met mine through the window, even the distance and the downpour couldn't hide the absolute panic that locked her features. I didn't draw the curtain. I didn't turn away. I simply held my cup of tea, the ceramic warm against my palms, and looked at her with a calm, flat expression. It was the same look one might give a stranger on a crowded subway, polite, distant, and entirely empty of curiosity. Below, Luna violently shoved Levi away from her. The young man stumbled backward, slipping on the wet grass and landing hard near the edge of the paved driveway. She didn't look back to see if he was hurt. She turned and ran toward the house, her muddy heels sliding on the stone steps. Within 10 seconds, the heavy oak front door slammed open downstairs. I heard her frantic footsteps scrambling up the spiral staircase, wet and heavy, leaving a trail of rainwater on the hardwood floor. When the door to the second-floor study burst open, she was panting, her long dark hair plastered to her face, her expensive trench coat dripping onto the white Persian rug. "Noah," she gasped, her voice trembling so violently she could barely form the syllables. She rushed toward me, her wet hands reaching out to grab my sleeves, but stopped a few inches away, terrified that her touch might push me further. "Noah, it's not what you think. Levi, he's clinically unstable. He's been stalking me since I rejected his research proposal at the hospital. I was just trying to get him to leave before he disturbed you." I set my teacup down on the wooden desk. The click of the ceramic against the mahogany was the only sound in the room. "You should change out of those wet clothes, Luna," I said, my voice quiet and level. "The draft upstairs is quite cold. You have a long surgery scheduled for tomorrow morning." Luna's hands hovered in the air, her fingers curling into tight, helpless claws. The lack of anger in my voice seemed to terrify her more than a screaming match would have. She stared at me, her chest heaving under her soaked coat, trying to find a single flicker of jealousy or pain in my eyes. There was nothing. "Noah, please," she whispered, a tear cutting through the rainwater on her cheek. "Yell at me. Hit me. Do something. Don't look at me like I'm a stranger." "You should take a hot bath," I replied, turning a page of my book. "I'll ask the housekeeper to prepare some ginger tea." "I don't want ginger tea," she shrieked, her composure finally breaking. She threw herself at my feet, her wet wool coat dragging across the floor as she grabbed my knees. "Noah, I swear to you, I only love you. He's nothing to me. He's just a student, an orphan I pitied because he reminded me of how I was before you saved me. Please, Noah, don't look at me with those cold eyes. It feels like you're already gone." I looked down at her. Her face was pale, her long eyelashes wet with a mixture of rain and tears. She looked so small, so desperate. For 10 years, I had built my entire existence around protecting this woman from her own tragic destiny. I had cooked her meals, bandaged her hands, and held her through her nightmares. But looking at her now, I felt nothing but a profound, hollow exhaustion. "I'm still here, Luna," I said softly, my hand rising to gently pat her wet head. "Go wash up." The physical touch seemed to reassure her. She let out a ragged, trembling sigh, and pressed her cheek against my knee like a faithful dog. But she didn't know that my touch was merely a polite farewell. In my mind, the blue digital interface of the system flickered to life. System. Host Noah Gosling, countdown to departure, 3 days, 12 hours. Please Ensure all personal traces are erased to avoid timeline ripples. Only 84 hours left. Chapter 5. Severing the ties. The next morning, the rain had cleared, leaving the sky a bright, pale blue that felt entirely too cheerful for the quiet of the villa. Luna had left for the hospital at dawn, but she had called the housekeeper 3 times before 8 o'clock to check if I had eaten breakfast. She was trying to pretend everything was normal, trying to use her busy schedule as a shield to keep from facing the silence between us. I spent the morning in our walk-in closet. I didn't have many personal possessions. When you transmigrate, the system doesn't allow you to take anything from the novel world back with you. No money, no clothes, no physical memories. Everything must be left behind to dissolve into the background data of the timeline. I took my coats, my shoes, and the custom suits Luna had bought for me over the years and placed them neatly in cardboard boxes. I labeled them for donation to the local charity shelter. When I reached the bottom drawer of the dresser, my fingers brushed against a small velvet box. I opened it. Inside were the physical letters Luna had written to me during her residency. Every letter started with the same sentence. To my savior, my husband, my Noah. I carried the box down to the fireplace in the living room. One by one, I fed the letters to the flames. The paper curled, turning black and brittle before dissolving into gray ash that floated up the chimney. I watched them burn with a strange sense of peace. The letters were filled with promises of eternal love, written by a woman who had spent her nights in another man's bed. The front doors opened suddenly, and the sound of rushed footsteps echoed in the hallway. It wasn't Luna. It was Levi. He stood in the doorway of the living room, his clothes dry now, but his face carried the same arrogant, twisted expression from the night before. He looked at the smoking fireplace, then at the cardboard boxes stacked near the door. "You're packing," he said, a smug smile spreading across his lips. "I knew it. You're finally leaving her." I didn't stand up. I placed the last letter onto the fire and watched the orange flames consume her handwriting. "What do you want, Levi?" "I wanted to see you look like a loser," he said, walking into the room and running his hand along the expensive marble mantelpiece. "For 10 years you lived like a king because of her. You thought you were special because you took her out of that orphanage. But she's tired of you, Noah. She's tired of your boring, predictable face." He stopped in front of me, leaning down to look into my eyes. "Do you want to know what she told me when we were in bed?" He whispered, his voice dripping with malice. "She said she hated how polite you were. She said she wanted someone who would make her feel dirty, someone who wasn't her savior, because being good all the time was suffocating her." I stood up slowly. Levi expected me to hit him. He had his shoulders tensed, ready to fight back, ready to show me how much younger and stronger he was. But I only adjusted the collar of my sweater and looked at him with a quiet, analytical curiosity. "You really believe she loves you, don't you, Levi?" I asked. "She does," he snapped, his voice rising. "She bought me that apartment. She gave me the necklace with her ring design. She bought you those things because she has too much money and too little guilt," I said, my voice dry. "You're not her lover, Levi. You're her trash bin. She throws her dirtiest desires into you because she respects me too much to let me see them. But eventually the trash bin gets full, and the lid gets closed." Levi's face flushed with a dark, ugly red. "You're lying. She's going to divorce you. She promised." "Then go ask her for the papers," I said, walking past him toward the stairs. "I've already signed my part. You don't have to wait much longer." By the second day, the public face of Dr. Luna Ackerman began to crack. The hospital was in a frenzy. A series of anonymous emails had been sent to the board of directors, containing the financial statements of the charity fund I had set up for Levi's education. The records clearly showed that Luna had personally approved several large cash transfers to Levi's private account, transfers that had no corresponding medical or academic purpose. It was a minor scandal compared to the videos, but for a woman who had just won the highest award in her field, it was a stain her family's public relations team couldn't ignore. When Luna returned home that evening, her face was completely hollow. Her assistants had tried to block the reporters at the gate, but several journalists had managed to shout questions at her as her car pulled through. She didn't mention the scandal when she walked into the study. She walked straight to the desk where I was writing a simple farewell note to my parents in my original world. A note I would burn before I left so the system could transmit the energy of my thoughts back to them. "Noah," she said, her voice dry and raspy. "I've fired Levi from the research group. I've cut off his stipend. I've also instructed our lawyers to evict him from the apartment." I kept writing, not looking up. "Okay. I did it for you, Noah," she said, her voice rising slightly, a frantic, pleading edge creeping back in. "I wanted to show you that he's nothing to me. I was weak. The pressure of the medical board, the expectations of the family. I felt like I was suffocating. I thought if I did something bad, something forbidden, the pressure would go away. She reached out, her fingers grabbing the edge of the desk, her knuckles white. But I never wanted to lose you. You're my home, Noah. You're the only good thing in my life. I set my pen down. The ink was black, drying slowly on the white paper. Luna, I said, finally looking up to meet her eyes. Do you remember the car accident 10 years ago? The one where you stayed in the ICU for a week, because you used your body to shield me. She paused, her eyes widening slightly. Of course I do. I'd do it again. I'd die for you, Noah. I know you would, I said. And that's why I stayed with you for 10 years. I thought that kind of devotion was rare. I thought we were childhood sweethearts who had overcome the world. I leaned back in the chair, my gaze dropping to her hands. Her fingers were long, her skin pale, but they carried the faint, bitter scent of tobacco, the same scent Levi always wore. But you didn't shield me because you loved me, Luna, I said, my voice dropping to a soft, clinical whisper. You shielded me because you felt guilty. You knew, even then, that you were born with a darkness you couldn't control. You wanted to pay your debt to me in advance so you could have the right to hurt me later. Luna backed away from the desk as if I had struck her. Her face went entirely translucent under the warm light of the study lamp, her lips parting but no sound coming out. Noah, no, she whispered. That's not. I loved you. I still love you. Your love is a cage, Luna, I said, standing up and picking up my book. And I finally found the key. The fourth day was the quietest. The system's countdown had reached 24 hours. Luna had taken a leave of absence from the hospital, claiming she needed to recover from exhaustion. She spent the day locking the villa. When I came downstairs in the afternoon, I found that the heavy steel security shutters had been drawn over every window on the first floor, blocking out the sunlight and turning the living room into a dark, shadowy vault. The front doors were locked with 3 separate deadbolts, the heavy brass keys nowhere to be found. She had turned the house into a fortress, a golden cage designed to keep the world out and to keep me in. She was sitting on the spiral staircase, her knees pulled up to her chest, her long hair falling over her shoulders. She wore a simple black sweater, her face pale, her eyes dark and hollow in the dim light of the lamps. You're not leaving, Noah, she said, her voice quiet, steady, and entirely mad. I saw your closet. I saw the empty hangers. I saw the charity donation boxes by the back gate. You're planning to run away. I stood at the bottom of the stairs, my hands in my pockets. I'm not running away, Luna. I'm just going home. This is your home, she shrieked, standing up, her fingers clawing at the wooden railing. I bought the asteroid for you. I built this life for you. Every trophy, every award, every cent I have ever made. It was all to prove that I was worthy of the boy who took me home from the rain. You were always worthy, Luna, I said softly. But you didn't want to be good. You wanted to be a god who could keep a savior in her cellar. No, she screamed, rushing down the steps and throwing her arms around my neck. Her grip was tight, desperate, almost suffocating. Her face buried into my chest, her body shaking with thick, hot tears. Please, Noah. Don't do this. I'll do anything. I'll let you lock me up. I'll let you hurt me. Just. Don't leave me alone in the dark. I didn't hug her back. My arms remained at my sides, my body entirely limp, offering her no resistance and no comfort. I'm already gone, Luna, I said. You're just holding on to a ghost. She pulled back, her gray eyes reflecting the dim, amber light of the chandelier. Her hands rose to cup my face, her fingers searching for the warmth she had known for 10 years. But my skin was already beginning to feel different, drier, cooler, as if the physical elements of my body were slowly preparing for the transition. System. Host Noah Gosling, countdown to departure. 1 hour 30 minutes. All physical ties have been severed. The portal will open in the master bedroom. Go rest, Luna, I said, gently pulling her hands off my face. It's going to be a long night. At midnight, the rain began to fall again, a quiet, steady patter against the slate roof of the villa. I stood in the center of the master bedroom. The room was dark, save for the blue digital light that had began to seep from my fingers, my chest, and my feet. The portal was not a physical door. It was a quiet, humming tear in the fabric of the room, reflecting a sky filled with unfamiliar, brilliant stars, the sky of my original world. The bedroom door was locked, but the wood was old. With a sudden violent crash, the lock gave way. Luna burst into the room, a heavy iron poker from the fireplace in her bandaged hand. Her face was completely wild, her hair tangled, her eyes wide with a manic, terrifying energy. She had spent the last hour looking for the keys and, when she couldn't find them, she had decided to break her way to me. But when she saw the blue light dissolving my body, She dropped the iron poker. It clattered onto the hardwood floor with a dull, ringing sound. Noah. She whispered, her voice dropping into a pitch of pure, childlike terror. What is that? What's happening to you? She rushed forward, her hands reaching out to grab my shoulders, but her fingers passed straight through the blue pixels, meeting nothing but empty air. She tried again, her arms flailing, her body throwing itself over mine, but she could only grasp the light. No, stop, she screamed, her voice cracking as she fell to her knees, her hands trying to scoop up the glowing dust that was rising from my legs. Noah, where are you going? Don't leave me, please. I'm sorry. My time is up, Luna, I said. My voice sounded distant now, echoing as if from the bottom of a deep, quiet well. I saved you 10 years ago because I felt sorry for you, but I cannot save you from yourself. Noah, I love you. I've always loved you. She shrieked, her face covered in the blue glow of my departure, her hands clutching the empty air where my chest had been seconds before. System. Host Noah Gosling, transmigration complete. Severing timeline ties. The last thing I saw before the blue light claimed my vision entirely was Luna Ackerman, kneeling on the cold floor of our empty bedroom, her hands holding the gray wool sweater I had left behind, screaming my name into the dark, indifferent silence of the universe. 5 years later, the asteroid 27-9 still spun in the cold, silent depths of space, a small rock, named after a man who did not exist. In the courtyard of the abandoned Ackerman villa, the weeds had grown tall, choking out the blue hydrangeas and the white roses. The iron gates were rusty, covered in old police tape and warning signs. A woman sat on the stone steps of the porch. Her clothes were simple, gray and torn at the hem. Her hands were covered in thick, dark scars from old burns, her long hair silvered at the temples. She didn't look at the sky. She didn't look at the empty road. She only stared at a small, cheap silver ring in her palm, the ring she had found in the trash can of a Caucasian restaurant 5 years ago, the one she had spent 3 days polishing until her fingers bled. A man walked up the gravel path, his clothes cheap and rumpled. Levi Baker stood by the gate, looking at her with a mixture of pity and resentment. Luna, he called out, his voice hoarse. The board is meeting tomorrow. If you just sign the medical release, they can restore your license. You're still the best surgeon in the country. You don't have to live like this. She didn't look up. She didn't move. He's not coming back, Luna. Levi screamed, his hands gripping the rusty iron bars of the gate. The police declared him dead 5 years ago. He's gone. There is no Noah Gosling. Luna Ackerman slowly raised her hand, her eyes vacant, cold, and entirely dead, as she looked at the silver ring. He's not dead, Levi, she whispered, her voice barely a breath in the autumn wind. He just went back to the stars. She closed her hand over the ring, holding it against her chest, and turned her face back to the dark, empty house, waiting for a door that would never open. Again.